Oh, at this point, I think there's far more people defending Dragon Age Veilguard on Twitter than there are people playing it. As I predicted, the game has a decent release, but I just do not see it matching the success of the other RPGs that came out this generation that all broke records. Now, to be fair, Bioware is breaking their own records, but if you're a Dragon Age fan and you've been waiting 10 years, this is probably hitting you harder than Koreans are hitting Johnny Somali right now.
Pow, right in the kitchen.
Unfortunately for me, I was live streaming and somebody paid me money to play the game, followed by buying me a copy of the game. And I said, well, hell, I don't want to be like other people online and just talk out of my ass. I'm actually gonna play it.
So you don't have to.
Unfortunately, I ended up rage quitting. And no, I unlisted that stream. You're never gonna see me rage quit, okay? It was embarrassing. I've never felt so frustrated, so bored, so underwhelmed with a game. And I'd rather people not see me be so negative. But I'll tell you what, we'll be streaming again on Sunday. If you wanna watch it, be my guest. 4 hours in, and I can tell you, this game does not respect the player's intelligence. Not only does it not respect your intelligence, but the gameplay is so shallow. Performance was abysmal, oddly enough, and I was told this game runs like a dream. Not for me, it ran absolutely horrendous. And I have a goddamn 3080. Dialogue options, per usual, they don't matter. Environment, bland. It looks like a 3D rendition of 2D art that you would see from an ad for a mobile MOBA game. Of course, all the characters are not pleasant to look at. Facial animations are even more outdated than I was expecting. Lip syncing is off. Voice acting, not good. Soundtrack, sounds like any random copyright-free music you can nab off of YouTube as background noise for a video. The UI, the goddamn UI, is so uninspiring in its design, but also clunky, not pleasant to use, and it just feels like a mobile UI. Like, the whole game adopts its entire combat and UI ideas from like games like Guardians of the Galaxy and Forspoken. Hell, I would say it plays a lot like Hogwarts Legacy, but without the flair. And you know, if that's what you're into, I guess it's serviceable, it's enjoyable to those that like it, but for someone like me, I don't know if I can really do 40 to 60 hours of this. My patience was wearing thin within 4 hours, and I'm apparently told, don't worry, it really picks up near the end. Keep in mind, I was playing it on the easiest mode so that I could speed blitz through the story, but that's the problem. It doesn't matter if you play it on easy, the pacing of the story, having a cutscene every minute after you've had a chance to spam some attacks at an enemy or walk about 5 feet as exploration and combat are cut short to move the story forward. I really don't think increasing the difficulty will fix the pacing, might actually make it worse, because I am trying to beat this as fast as possible, but I'm also not trying to miss any important story beat moments, and so far it feels like I didn't have to pay attention to most of it. No truly evil decisions to be made within my first 4 hours, so that is not a good role-playing experience. And per usual, like most RPGs, so I'm gonna give it slack here, it's all revolving around a MacGuffin that you have to find, and it's all about the journey getting there. Unfortunately, this journey has been absolutely boring. The fact I haven't been able to make a single influential decision that I care about, that makes me confident there's gonna be interesting decisions to make, yeah, no, not good. Well, then there comes the problem of the reviews and how almost AI generated they feel. The producer Money pointed it out to me, sending me several screenshots, and they all say the exact same thing, a return to form, or use words like triumphant or triumph. And I kid you not, nearly every single reviewer has the exact same phrase. It makes you wonder if this was some sort of agreement they signed up for. Make sure you say triumphant and return to form in your reviews, and you know, the world isn't gonna notice. It got so bad, I eventually went over to ChatGPT and I asked it to write me a review for Dragon Age, and it turned out exactly word for word like a lot of these ones do on Metacritic. Take that as you will. Perhaps, you know, there's just not enough words out there to express how people feel about this game. They just maybe look at each other's work and copy it. But to be honest with you, I think it's entirely AI generated. The fact that there are people online who are happy that such a piece of crap is even like doing okay at its best just to own the anti-woke crowd is pathetic. I mean, they hate that crowd so much they're willing to have games just be complete dog shit in order to get back at them, because that crowd does not play video games. As much as you want to hate these anti-woke tubers or whatever, they at the very least play these games far more. Like, there's a 90% chance they are actually gamers, unlike the ones on Twitter who cheer on progressivism and woke tokenism. It explains why the reviews are so high from publications that constantly promote LGBT propaganda, because this game is littered with it.
Thank you.
So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said, and I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
This is because I have criticized your dress or your manners.
It isn't!
Under the Q, the term for one whose gender does not match the one given to them at birth was a cuniflock. Perhaps you are like that.
Why do you have to keep picking at it? Why can't you just be happy for me?
Evatosh, chakra to ebra.
Who I am? Even if I don't feel like I fit, even if I feel wrong?
No, you misunderstood. I will go. Thank you for inviting me to your home.
And I think developers oftentimes forget that if you're not part of the LGBT community, you're not gonna get most of this or care about it. These developers seem to think like half the human population identifies as non-binary or trans, when reality shows that's not even close. So many of the story beat moments are completely unrelatable to the average person. This game does nothing, and I mean nothing, to help the cause. It just further isolates people from the movement you're trying to push, because they see it everywhere and they don't get enough of it. It drives most people insane, because you wonder, is the game trying to tell me to be gay, or is it trying to tell me a good story? Because this scene right here.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barv.
Oh. Okay.
a barv?
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune, from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big, drawn-out apologies. So, when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a Barv. Oh, there we go.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours.
Huh.
Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
Any reason you can't just apologise?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a barv, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, you know, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay, yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Yeah, what kind of message are you trying to send gamers with that? What are you advocating for? Who in their right mind is gonna play this and feel that is completely normal, rational, and organic? It's not like you can't write interesting LGBT characters, because you absolutely can. We have countless examples of it from the past. But it's like the messaging wasn't enough for them then. They need to hammer it in. They need you to understand, but you can't because you're not gay, and they don't get that.
Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What?
Now, this is coming from me. There's much more to say. I could go on, but I'm gonna play more of the game before I give my final verdict. But basically, everything I'm telling you, minus, the anti-woke stuff, is exactly what MrMattyPlays was saying in his review, which Twitter took such a big issue with. They tried to create a false narrative that he broke NDA and released leaked footage to a racist friend so that they could call Matty racist, because again, the crowd that's coming to defend and take bat for Dragon Age are insane, mentally ill people. They are cheering on mild success right now. And it's mild success for a game that I'm pretty sure the majority of reviewers would be bashing if it did not have pro-LGBT narratives. And you know what? I think that is why they put it in there in the first place. Developers know that, if they put in a bunch of non-binary and trans rhetoric in the game, it will by default give them +5 on their score because reviewers have no integrity. In spite of us knowing that they are completely full of shit on this review, they still put out those reviews. I had to replay Mass Effect 1 on my Steam Deck just to have a palate cleanser afterwards. And it is truly a remarkable difference in tone, atmosphere, voice acting, decision making. It's not a return to form. And reviewers like MrMattyPlays were right on the money. You could tell Matty was one paragraph away from finally actually speaking out on the politics of the game, but because he's a lot smarter than I am, he didn't do that. It is quite divisive when you call out terrible writing for its political messaging. The closest Matty could get was to saying it was cringe, and he still struggled saying that, which lets you know exactly where Matty stands. And yet, for some reason, Twitter still didn't give him the benefit of the doubt. They wanted to label him a racist because a lot of people are emotionally invested in ensuring this game proves what they believe is right, which is sad to say. To put all of your faith behind a video game to be the one to deliver your message for you. Because that message is not really resonating with gamers. And sadly, there is a chunk of the Dragon Age fan base that refuses to accept any of the criticism. They don't even want to hear you talk about it, which is why apparently they've banned Asmondgold's community from the Dragon Age subreddit.
The bozo at Asmondgold, already banned from @Dragon Age subreddit, WMods. Hello, you have been permanently banned from participating in Dragon Age because you broke the community's rules. You won't be able to post or comment, but you can still view and subscribe to it. Note from the moderators. Unfortunately, due to too many repeated infractions of our civility and bigotry rules from users of this community, Asmondgold, we have decided to automatically revoke access to our subreddit as a preventative measure so that our community at large can focus on actual criticisms of the game without getting involved in the war against woke culture. There are other subreddits for Dragon Age that allow this type of discussion, which we recommend visiting instead. If you feel you have been banned in error, please reply to this message and we will manually review your account.
The Dragon Age subreddit has banned basically everybody from commenting. Like, anybody who comments on my subreddit and then comments on Dragon Age gets automatically banned. Update, I just got auto-banned from the Dragon Age sub because I also subscribed to Asmondgold. They felt I already violated community rules. Quote, it's not in the rules. My comment was regarding how long it takes to get through Inquisition story. I think Bioware is weaponizing a new sector of marketing to control the narrative on all fronts. Well, if they're trying to control the narrative, they're doing a really, really bad job.
Perfectly normal behavior.
What a weak-minded, spineless, fragile audience. I would be disappointed in myself if I ever reached the point where I could not handle people's personal opinions. on a goddamn video game. And what was Asmondgold even banned for? He was banned for simply posting that he was looking forward to it and it would be his first Dragon Age game ever.
1 hour later.
Gender identity options. Oh my, uh-oh, here we go. Take a long, hard look in it, kid. It'll always show the face of a hero who can get it done. Establishes transgender identity and unlocks new dialogue options in future conversations. I love who I am. It feels good to see the real me. Should I do it? I mean, every single option makes me transgender. There's no option not to be transgender. It says makes me trans. This one does, and this one. I don't know why I have to be trans, guys. I can't. Guys,
They don't tolerate bigotry over there, or whatever they say. No, here's the reality. They don't want anyone who doesn't have anything nice to say about their favorite game. The longer you are on the internet, the more aware you will become of these man-children. They're not seeking tolerance, they're seeking shelter from criticism. Because unfortunately, there is simply too much political messaging in this game, and you cannot deny it. I mean, if you're somebody who's even trans, non-binary, or gay, you're gonna look at it and realize how inorganic it all comes off. It's practically impossible to deny the obvious, because the political messaging doesn't make up a fraction. It makes up like an entirety of a lot of characters' personality traits. Oftentimes the game has to go out of its way to blatantly lecture the player on how to approach misgendering people, or what it's like to be transgender, or what it's like to come out. And this is not really a message that can resonate with the majority of male gamers who don't really believe in that. And even if they do believe in it, they can't really relate to it. So it does not have the same level of impact. And, you know, it's not much better with the heterosexual stuff, because even if it's straight, they still find a way to make it cringe and completely unrelatable in a way that no human would act.
You're not alone. Whatever's out there, we'll face it together, I promise. Together.
I could kiss you right now. I'm going to kiss you right now.
At least there's something we might need to. It's your magic.
Rook?
You make the world spin, Lace Harding.
Rook! Lyrium. It's like I'm infused with lyrium.
I noticed it when we touched. That night when we talked about your dreams.
You knew? You knew and you still kissed me?
Wow, I feel drunk.
Yeah, it's because I turned your head into mush.
Or it's love.
You boob. This is not funny.
I want to die.
Do you see what I mean? Under normal circumstances, most people would be bleh. But because the circumstances are that this is a super ultra progressive game, we can't view it as cringe. We're supposed to view it as nothing less than excellent. If you were to take away the aspects of woke tokenism, all these journalists would actually be able to see the game for what it is. And that's a huge problem. That type of bias affects reviews, affects sales of games, affects perception of the industry. That's why it's so easy for people to fall for anything Grum's posts on Twitter, even if sometimes it's not correct or he might be something he made up entirely. Because it's so easy to look at all of those repetitive reviews and not think to yourself, was this a standard procedure of selected terms and phrases that Bioware demanded out of reviewers? A narrative that one can easily believe and someone can take full advantage of. And you know what? I don't even blame people for believing it, because these developers make it that easy. And the journalists all falling in line with it, that right there is what makes gamers gravitate towards just about any content creator or social media influencer talking about it, because they know the truth can't be found with these journalists. You know, I never really thought I'd find myself turning to MrMattyPlays, of all people, for a proper review of a product like this. But that's where we are now. The people making the game are non-binary and trans and queer, and the game they're making is for those people, and it's being reviewed by those people. This type of bias really should not fly by in the world of journalism, all right? With the amount of defense force I'm seeing for this game, the amount of damage control, I'm expecting it to have 300,000 concurrent players based on how much the industry is glazing it up. When you can sniff out this obvious bias, it really changes your perspective on these creators and social media influencers, because it means they have adopted that agenda and they're perfectly okay with it. Well, actually not okay with it, they embrace it. They think it's probably like the backbone of storytelling. But once they actually play the games, then they'll know that they are trash. And the reasons people like me are playing it is so that you don't have to. I'd rather have 500 people watching me play it versus 500 people buying it. That's my logic. You know, after everything we've covered here, after the clips I've shown you, if that ain't enough to convince you, then I guess give it a try. But for the sake of your own sanity, I don't recommend you do. I feel like I'm owed even more money to continue playing this, so we're gonna work something out, cause it's just abysmal. With that being said, like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to, and I'll see you in the next one.
Free Congo sucks ass.